Shall we just go for it? Just go for it, they say. Hi, everybody. Welcome. My name is Randy Morgan. This is my channel where I talk about some deep insights, profound transformations that I navigate both as a human and a spiritual being on a human journey. Yeah, let's dive right in. Today's topic is going to be about boundaries within the self. And something that I've really been discovering within myself is that I negotiate with my boundaries. And the reason this feels important and significant to bring up here is because when we negotiate with ourselves, when we negotiate with the rules that we have internally, it is generally like a way of disrespect to the self. And let me get clear about what I'm saying here. As an example, I will have a boundary. I don't bring electronics in my bedroom. But every now and then, I will say, oh, just for tonight. Just for tonight, we can watch movies in bed. And then I fall asleep watching movies and I wake up and I am pissed. I'm pissed. I had a shit sleep. I I knew I shouldn't have done that. I knew I shouldn't, and so these are the things that I'm talking about. They seem super minuscule, but in reality, they are really essential to our well-being. And so that's why it feels super important to bring into today's topic because that is something I'm struggling with. Um, like myself, you might also have areas of your life where you compromise. And like as another example, I have this beautiful fluffy giant. You can't really see him. But he's not fluffy. What am I talking about? But he always wants to sleep in my bed. Always. He wants to be on the couch with me or in my bed with me. There's quite clearly some attachment issues there. And I have initiated a new boundary. For a while I was like, whatever, fine, let's snuggle. But the more that I practice this new boundary of having him sleep in his own bed and me in mine, I am getting better sleeps. I'm feeling better throughout my day. I'm not as like irritated by him or pissed off at him because subconsciously he woke me up 3 times last night just because he hogs. Like, he'll literally lay in the middle of the bed and he always needs to be touching me. And I don't want to be touched while I'm sleeping. And so I keep moving away and he keeps moving closer until I'm basically falling off the bed. And so that's like a really light example of a boundary that seems so small and so insignificant, yet it actually holds like super great, like deep significance to my well-being and just like my mood throughout the day. And so that's why it feels this topic is important because we do this in all areas. And I don't know, maybe we don't. I definitely do. So let me know where, this falls in line for you or where this aligns for you if it does. Because just like sleeping, I know not to eat sugar before bed, but yet sometimes I will say just tonight. And that just tonight, like that just today, that just for this moment is a very slippery slope. And so it kind of goes hand in hand. You can say, just for today, I won't do electronics. Or just for today, I won't do that bad habit that I've been doing that I know is not good for my well being. And it also goes the other way. Just for today, I'm going to do the electronics. So it's a slippery slope either way. We can, just for today, I'm not going to bring candy to bed, or I'm not going to bring movies to bed, or I'm not going to let the dog sleep in the bed. And so these little things, and and I suppose for me, I recognize that boundaries felt like rules, and rules are allowed to be broken sometimes. And I realized that that mindset, like that mental way of looking at boundaries, was also harmful. It also was not conducive to my well-being. It wasn't helping, because when it comes to boundaries, there should be no in between. Or, and if there is an in between, that's also a boundary, right? And so, as another example, if you don't feel a solid yes about something, like heck yeah, full body yes, then it's probably a no. And if you negotiate with it and you're like, well, it's not really a no, but it's not a yes, then you land in the I guess. I guess this is okay. I guess. And that I guess isn't necessarily satisfactory. It probably also isn't honoring you where you're at. It's going, well, I guess, like, it's not that bad, but it's not good. And so this comes with something that I'm initiating in my life, which is setting a new standard, a non-negotiable standard. And even when I say non-negotiable, I've been using the word so much that eventually my non-negotiables became negotiables, because I started negotiating with them. Like, today I don't have to work out, even though my workout routine is a non-negotiable. So it's just, this is something that is allowing me to take self-awareness into a new level, and practice greater self-awareness of when I do want to negotiate my boundaries and where that's coming from. Because generally, when you negotiate with yourself, it's coming from an unhealed place, right? We're seeking, or we're searching, or we're looking to fill a void or an emptiness within through this compromise. It's like, instead of saying no, instead of making decisions for a distant reward that is going to be much greater, we're allowing ourselves to fall short for instant gratification. And so it's just, what I'm finding is the greatest way for anyone, including myself, to respect these boundaries is to understand why. Why are these boundaries so important to you? Why is it important to you to get a good sleep? Why is it important to you to not eat junk food or crap before bed? Or why is it important to you to turn off the phone or the screen 2 hours before bed? Why is it important to do that walk once a day or twice a day? Like, why are these things important to us? That the reasoning behind those, and sometimes you have to dig a couple layers deeper. So when I ask myself this question, and it can be a little bit frustrating at times, at least for me it feels that way. I will say, why do I want this? And I'd say, well, because I don't want to be here a year from now. I don't want to be living the same routine, the same bullshit. I don't want to be, I don't want to put up with my bullshit anymore, basically. And I want to grow. I want to evolve. I don't want to settle. I don't want to settle for less than what I deserve, or less than what I know I'm capable of, even better said. And so that means that I must demand more from myself. And when I hold myself accountable versus when I let myself fall short, when I let myself, and there's a difference between holding yourself accountable and being hard on yourself. There's a difference between setting yourself to a high standard and also respecting when you don't always meet that high standard unintentionally, but recognizing when you had a decision and you consciously could have chosen, right? And this isn't about blaming or shaming or, it's not about being hard on ourselves. It's about recognizing where we can grow, where there is a lesson to be learned, where there is room for improvement, while also honoring and bringing awareness to those parts of us that are doing really well, right? And so it's kind of like finding the in between, because I myself used to be so hard on myself, and I thought I had such a high standard, but I really had low standards and like harsh self-talk. So it was just like a lose-lose situation. I wasn't getting any better because I wasn't learning from my mistakes, because I was just mad at myself for not following through. And so the idea to be compassionate or um, aware without judgment, like, okay, I see, like, I wish I didn't do that. And, and I feel like I disrespected myself by doing that, by eating sugar before bed, by staying up too late, by doing what I know that is not good for me. Um, and then we do something else that's not good for us because as a means to cope a lot of the times. And so, yeah, it's something that's become really clear in my reality, really clear in my day-to-day life, of all the little areas where I have a rule and then I negotiate it. And I have a rule and I negotiate it. And it's not a rule. I need to stop calling it rules, because rules to me are meant to be broken. No, boundaries are for you. They're not to put you in a prison. And so that is something that I'm moving through internally myself. Is like, I don't create boundaries to put myself in jail or to make my life harder. I do it to make my life easier. And so it's about getting clear about that perception or perspective that you have around boundaries, or the reason why you feel like you must do certain things a certain way. And a lot of the times I think we fall back to the maybe rebellious teenage years or idea that if, when parents used to say, no, no, you can't eat that before bed. It's like, well, yes, I can. Watch me. I had definitely had this rebellious teenager in me. It's like, you want to tell me no? Watch me. And so I'm meeting this part of myself and saying, hey, I know that you want to rebel, but is rebelling helping you? Is rebelling feeling good in your body after you rebel? Like, can we rebel in healthier ways? Yeah, it's really just interesting. And the more I talk about this, the more I'm recognizing, like, I am really tired today. And I woke up and was just like, set a new standard. You're going to do this. And I think there's there's a need to find the in between of, excuse me, of pushing yourself when necessary, when sticking to your holding the line. I was going to say sticking to your guns, but I don't necessarily like that metaphor as much. Holding the line. Um, Having some level of authority over the the younger parts of the self that want to rebel, or the self that wants to sabotage. I think it's practicing a level of authority within yourself that does hold you to a higher standard, that does demand more from you than you had previously. Because when we start to demand more from ourselves, we recognize how capable we are of things when, you push against that resistance. And the more we do it, the easier it gets. And so right now, I would say, at least for me, what I'm going to do is start to just practice no. No. No, you cannot. No, you cannot get out of bed and go get a piece of bread. No, no, just no. I'm going to say no, and I'm going to practice respecting my no. Because when we say no, we're saying yes to something, perhaps in the not so distant future, that is very worth the reward of saying no. right? And so practicing no in your life, whatever that may look like for you, figure out what you're saying yes to when you say no. If I say no to sugar, I'm saying yes to the body that I don't yet have or that I'm working towards. If I say no to sharing my sleeping space with my dog, then I'm saying yes to a better mood and more energy every day. If I say no to cannabis, then I'm saying yes to greater mental clarity, the ability to articulate myself more clearly and bring forth my message more articulately. Is that a word? More clearly, right? And I even know, like, right now I'm witnessing, like, I smoked pot yesterday and my brain is doing that thing where it's not as clear as when I'm not. And so I'm it's almost as if our where we fall short and where we have these little moments of like, I knew I shouldn't have done that, but I did it and now I'm regretting it. These are the moments where we can recognize, like, I don't think I want to do that anymore, actually. I don't think I want to negotiate with myself anymore because I'm tired. I negotiated with myself so much over the last few days that I feel like I hit burnout, and then I didn't know how to honor that burnout because I was being hard on myself. And it's just interesting. It's interesting when we bring this level of self-awareness into the picture, but not from a place of judgment, but just compassion. And maybe not even compassion, because I don't even feel like I'm being very compassionate yet. I don't feel like I've gotten to that point, but I do feel that I'm being open. I'm being open to the possibility that maybe there's a better way. Maybe the way I've been navigating thus far is not working for me. In the sense of yeah, boundaries, and boundaries within self, not just people, because that was something that I learned the hard way. It was boundaries with people and energy, because I also had recognized that when I don't have boundaries, it's really hard on me. And so recognizing where boundaries are necessary within self is, when you can respect those boundaries and you can say no, and you create a level of self-respect that you wouldn't have otherwise. And so if you struggle with self-doubt and like second guessing yourself, it's often because you second guess the things that you know are necessary, or you allow yourself to negotiate and be dishonest about what you really need. And and so that's what I'm talking about, is when I don't listen to the boundary that I've set, I'm finding ways to justify why it's okay to break this boundary, why it's okay to not listen today. And I think those are coming from a dishonest place, because I'm not breaking the rule because it's Sunday and I'm allowed, it's Sunday. No, I'm breaking the rule because I feel an emptiness that I'm trying to fill with this instant gratification, whether it's sugar, food, shopping, whatever, cannabis, you know. And one of the big things that I recognize a lot recently is dopamine, like a need. It's almost like a fixation, right? Um, which we get from notifications and likes and subscribe, or like all those numbers, right? Or yeah, getting reactions, getting validated by the external world, or changing our state through food, right? It's all trying to change our state. So if we're uncomfortable with where we're at, um generally that's the place I will negotiate with myself from. So if I'm tired, oh my gosh, you fart again and you have to get off the couch. I'm so sorry. He just like, I think you gotta go, dude. I can't. I don't even know if I'm wafting it away or towards right now. See? And I even feel like right now, this is a boundary. This is a boundary. Mm. Yeah, and we normally negotiate from places that are like when we're tired. So we're like already in a vulnerable place. And that's generally where they come from, is a vulnerable place when we're feeling vulnerable. So instead of reacting and allowing yourself to negotiate with your needs out of a place of weakness, or maybe weakness isn't the right word, but just vulnerability, allow yourself to recognize like why am I negotiating with my boundaries right now? Why do I feel like this is okay just for today? And what could I do alternatively that would feel better and healthier? Because I think a lot of the times that I recognize it, like I'm just too tired. I'm just too tired to hold up what feels like a fight. And so it's a mindset, right? Am I holding up the fight against, right? Because I've been running these patterns for so long. If we've run habits and patterns that for years and years and years, of course they're the easy way out. Of course just eating junk food before bed is the easy way out, or staying up late, or bringing the screens to bed, or of course they're the easy way out. We've practiced that. But the route that of course is a little bit harder, which is to say no, is the more rewarding, and I think you and I both know that. It's just a matter of practice, right? And so as you begin this journey with boundaries, if you're here with me still, thank you so much for taking the time to have this chat with me, and this moment of self-reflection within yourself to explore whether or not this is something that is impacting you, and a practice that you could initiate that would create greater reward for your well-being and so forth. So it's important. It's important to recognize the importance of it and get to the root of why you want to say no to things, or why you want to hold these boundaries within yourself. Because that will give you leverage. That will give you a reason to say no, even when you want to negotiate with yourself. Mm. And the more we do it, the greater self-respect we have, the greater authority we have within ourselves, when we don't comply, or to the voice that says, "Oh, you can do it," right? The little devil that just goes, "Just for today." And I had something else to say, but it slipped my mind now. And I just want to remember this moment of a little bit of irritation, because I feel like it slipped my mind because of one of my boundaries that I disrespected yesterday. And or maybe I didn't disrespect, but I'm realizing that it needs to be a stronger line. And so yeah, it's this self-awareness, and I think it's easier than we think it is, and the more we practice, the better and easier we'll get at it, and the easier it will come. But of course, like in the first few times that you try to say no to sugar, or no to that or this or the other, or initiate this boundary, it's going to be hardest. The first, I feel like the first 10 tries are going to be the hardest, and then from there it just gets easier. And so just remember that in that, when a pattern is dying, right? So if you've run a pattern of eating before bed, or watching movies to fall asleep, or whatever it is, when it's not being fed, when we're not feeding the pattern what it wants, the sugar, the movies, the this, the that, it's going to be loud. It's going to try and convince itself that you need it, that it's necessary to keep on breaking your boundaries. And that means that it's dying, right? When we don't feed the pattern, it's starving. And so the idea is to just witness the pattern, witness the part of you that just wants to give in, and don't do anything about it. Don't give in, just witness it. Let it exist and and go against the urge to feed it, because feeding it is not being your own authority. It's feeding the child that is screaming for the lollipop that you know just had like 6 lollipops. This child does not need another lollipop. And that's a funny metaphor, but it's true, because that part of us that is screaming for instant gratification, we know is likely not in service to our greatest good, not holding us to the highest standard that we could have. And so I think another thing that I want to mention here is that what is worth what is worth high what is worth holding yourself to a higher standard? Like for me, I look at the individuals that I've been attracting, like romantically, and this is nothing against them, but they don't fall in alignment with what I want romantically, or what I want in a partner, or what I want in to be the father of my children. And so I recognize that, okay, if I'm attracting these individuals, then that is where I am. That is what I'm giving off. That is the standard, right? If I'm attracting individuals with low standards in themselves, um, then I mustn't be holding myself to a high enough standard to attract a man or an individual that holds himself to that high standard that I want him to, right? And so it's interesting. It's like, do your desires match your actions? Because if you want millions of dollars, if you want a dream life, if you want a rocking body, do your actions are your actions bringing you closer to that desire? Like, honestly, are your eating habits bringing you closer to the body you want? Are your is your exercise routine bringing you closer to the body you want? Is your daily habits bringing you closer, or your spending habits, or your ability to navigate your finances, is that bringing you closer to the financial state that you desire, right? And so that's kind of like something that is really clear amongst this journey, at least for me, is to see like, oh, my actions don't match what I want. And so how do I make them match? Well, I say, this is what I want, and what do I need to do, and who do I need to be in order to achieve it? And then that will allow you to have better leverage, better ability to say no and or yes when you need to, in order to get closer to what it is that you want. And I really think that that is the driving force, right? What is fueling you? If you don't have anything pushing the gas on this path of life, on this and the journey that you're on, what is pushing the gas? Is it just getting by, just to get through? Or is there something pushing the gas that is motivating you, right? And we need motivation. We need something to go towards. We need purpose. And it doesn't mean you need to know what your purpose is. Heck, I know what my purpose is, and it's still not motivating enough sometimes. I have to get really, really clear about what it is that I want, what I want my purpose to bring, what I want to feel in my body, the kind of life that I want to live. And I have to remind myself over and over and over. that this is why we're doing this. This is why we do the hard stuff. Because I don't want to settle for anything less. I don't want to settle for what life was before I committed to doing what was hard. I don't want to settle for the pain and the suffering that I experience internally when I let myself lower my standards and negotiate my boundaries. I don't want to be that person. That's not the role model I want to be. That's not the coach, or you know what I mean? Like I must hold myself to a higher standard if I expect my clients to hold themselves to a higher standard. If I want to impact the world in the way in which I do, I must be leading in a way that I can inspire that level within people, and that we can find it within. We can. Even when it's hard, even when we're tired, and again, it's coming into those places where, like, over and over, I recognize, like, I've mastered one area and then another area shows up where I have yet to master. And it's both frustrating, but it's compelling. It's, you know, I can let it defeat me and say, oh, here we go again. We're not yet there. And I don't think we're ever going to be there. But it's finding that joy in having to do what we have to do, and recognizing how great the rewards get when we do commit, when we stay committed, when we keep showing up despite the external world's validation, or you keep on keeping on, no matter how far down that seed, you know the seed beneath the ground seems to be. When we plant a flower, we plant food, we don't expect it to just pop up the next day. And so I think that's what, a beautiful metaphor for what I'm talking about is you just keep watering. You just keep nurturing, you just keep nourishing, you keep protecting the seeds that you've planted beneath the soil. And you just keep going despite the manifestation or not manifestation of it. You just keep going. And why do you keep going? Because I guess for me, I just don't want to settle for anything less, because I've watched people settle my whole life, and it's sad. It's a sad place to be. It's a painful place to be. I don't want to settle for mediocrity. I don't want to settle for getting by. I want thriving. I want joy. I want energy. I want to feel alive. I want to feel whole, fulfilled. And so I'm going to align my actions to get me there. And I'm going to remind myself every day why I have to do some of the things even when I don't want to do them. Because letting yourself do whatever you want is hurting you way more than helping you. And you have this beast, this warrior, this archetype within you that will drive you forward when you connect to it. And it's like connecting to the flame of the passion, right? What is it? What do you want? Why do you want it? And then when you figure out that why? Keep answering. Go 7 layers deep. Why do I want that? Why do I want that? Why do I want that? You know, let yourself get really real with yourself. And you will create a momentum in you that doesn't require you to force yourself because you'll be pulled towards it. You'll be pulled to do the things. And if you don't feel like you're being pulled, you need a better why. You need a better reason to drive you forward. You need a better reason or reasons to respect yourself, to not break your boundaries, to not disrespect your body or skip the workout or, and these things are really simple. It doesn't require you to go to the gym for an hour, maybe just 10 minutes. Just start with movement. Just start. Just start. Just start. That is the biggest hurdle. Starting. Put on the running shoes. Remove the cupboards of what is hurting you. It's not about being hard on ourselves. Again, it's about deciding that you're not going to keep lowering your standards and get a different result and start living a better life. No, it's about raising your standards, demanding more from yourself, and showing yourself what you're really capable of, because it's so much more than what you think you are. And the more you can demand from yourself and start to meet those demands, you start to believe in yourself more. You start to believe in what you're capable of more and more. And then suddenly a momentum picks up where you feel fucking unstoppable. Like nothing can hold you back or hold you down. Don't get me wrong, we still have moments where we fall. But getting back up is so much easier and comes so much more with grace, without the weight. Yeah, and I don't know how much is coming across as clearly as I'm seeing it within my mind, but I do hope in some way, shape, or form this is helping someone out there to maybe brighten that little fire within you a little bit brighter and activate the archetype within you, right? We all have there's these 4 archetypes. What is it? The sovereign, the warrior, the king or the queen, and the lover. And you can just consciously activate, say my warrior. I think you can even look it up. Like Tony Robbins does the practice. He probably has like a video on YouTube you can look up, or it just, you know, close your eyes, check in yourself. Where is my warrior? My warrior feels like in my chest. What color is it? What sound does my warrior make? What does my warrior want to say to me? You can do it. You can do it. That's what my warrior says. Or the queen, right? And we recognize, like, because I think another archetype we adopt unconsciously is the victim. And we've been taught that in society. It's global. It's a it's like a disease. And we all get caught by it, you know? It's like the shadow of the world. We all get caught in that sometimes, or have been in the past. And when you activate these different parts of yourself, you recognize that there are deeper layers within yourself that don't give up on you, that believe in you more than anyone else believes in you, that has a love that has no conditions, no judgment, just pure. And I feel like that's activated when you look at a newborn baby a lot of the times. It's just pure. Same with nature. I know a lot of people that love nature just love nature. Nature is just nature. You just want to be in it. It doesn't matter what kind of tree you're walking beside, you just want to be near them. And it's that level of love, right? So and there's different practices, there's different things you can do to activate these parts of yourselves. And I know for me, one of the things that is like motivational morning speakers or affirmations or meditation or breath work. um and I know I'm definitely trailing, but it's all connected. For someone like myself that has battled inner thoughts that were excruciating, um and even in these moments sometimes they still get to me. They still say, what's the point? Like, why are we even doing this? I'm tired. It's important to keep the reprogramming, keep listening to things that do lift you up, keep listening to things that, because the thoughts that we practice for a long time, it could be a month, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. If you've practiced shitty thinking about yourself and your life, like, what's the point? Why should I keep going? Blah, blah, blah. Those are going to be pretty prominent in your reality. It's going to be pretty prominent throughout your day. And so you have to immerse yourself in an environment that is not those thoughts. And so for me, that looked like listening to motivation and happy music and just healthier talking, healthier, right? I had to immerse myself in just better thoughts, better thinking, better people, better environments. Because when I let myself and my brain just go, its habitual going is not always good, and it's not good for me, and it hurts me actually. And so yeah, if I'm having shitty thought patterns or shitty thought loops, like, one, I check in and I say, is there something I'm not dealing with? Because a lot of the times that's our survival mode. So okay, yeah, like, I'm feeling really tired today, I'm just feeling like lower energy, and so I have to make greater effort to fill my being and my brain with greater thoughts, greater thinking, learning, happy music, whatever. So that while I'm in this lower state, while I'm in this like sleepy lower state, it doesn't drag me into my shitty thought loops that are really good at getting to me or have been in the past, right? And so, we're doing a dance. We're doing this dance. And how bad do you want it? How bad do you want a different life? How bad do you want the girl of your dreams or the guy of your dreams? How bad do you want a life that you love to live? How bad do you want to make impact in the world? How bad do you want it? Whatever it is that you want, how bad do you want it? Do you want it enough to push forward, push through, to demand more from yourself? Find it. Find whatever it is that makes you driven, that makes you hungry for life. And that will drive you forward, that will help you honor and respect yourself more than ever. I'm going to leave it there. I love you all so much. Thank you for listening. Please do like, share, subscribe if this resonates for you or has resonated for you. Wow, what a journey. I feel like I've been in a bubble, little vortex channel. I love you all. Have a great rest of your day. Bye for now.